Trying to close out the Nuggets, who have lost their starting center Nene with a sprained knee for the rest of the game. But we talked about Carmelo Anthony needing other people to help him, and you have to think that he did get some help in that first half.
Anthony and Billups combined just 4 of 15 in that first half. Other guys had to step up. Well, they certainly did to allow them to be competitive. Once Chauncey turns the corner, now somebody else has to come through for him. The little jumper by Martin. Then all of a sudden you get Anderson feeling good, stepping back at the foul line. A follow from the three-point line starts to open that defense up. And then the guy they've been waiting to explode, J.R. Smith with the jumper, the three-pointer from the left side of the floor. Other people stepped in and helped.
And now it's time for the Double Down Cam presented by KFC Double Down.
That two-man game of Williams to Boozer. Is it a pick and roll? No, it's more of a pick and pop situation for them. Williams likes to line up the defense. He has the ball in the middle of the floor. His big man Boozer comes up, sets the screen. As he clears it, it's not a roll, but a step back. Now it's his job, Williams, to make sure he gets it to Boozer at the right moment where he can get the shot off before the defense can rotate to him.
All right, so as we start the third quarter, Johan Petro, who played nearly 10.5 minutes, will start along with Aaron Aflalo, Kenyon Martin, Carmelo Anthony, and Chauncey Billups. Martin and Billups both playing with 3 personal fouls. C.J. Miles, Darren Williams taking the first shot and missing the 3, and the rebound by Billups. Carlos Boozer is in there. Frill Fisenko as well. And here is the pass to Martin. And Martin now in double figures with 10, joining Anthony.
Dick, I think these 3 or 4 minutes to start out the second half are going to be so critical for how Denver approaches this, what could be last half of basketball for them. Whether they come out, make a statement early on, get on the glass, execute their offense and share the basketball, or whether they allow Utah to continue its offensive execution.
Phillips got a piece of Miles' shot from outside, and it is tipped in by C.J. Miles. And it is 54-52. Utah shooting 50% in the first half, and the Nuggets 44% from the field. Aflalo working against Wesley Matthews and hits the turnaround. So now Aflalo with 10. Tie score at 54. And 3 of the Nuggets with 10 points in this game. And the Jazz with a big opportunity. And Petro with a steal. Here's Billups. Lays it in to give the Nuggets the lead.
And that time, the defender, rather than standing behind Fisenko, letting him catch the ball right in the middle of the paint, took a chance, gambled, came around him, got a deflection. It led to an easy score. And now we see the turnover take place.
Palming violation called against the Nuggets or the Utah Jazz, and so the Nuggets will take the ball out. Jerry Sloan, somebody once said, well, Jerry Sloan has won so many playoff games. Adrian Dantley, who's the acting coach, and now we'll have the offensive foul going the other way, and that will go against Petro, his 3rd. And Mark Fine had a chance to check in with Adrian Dantley. Mark.
Yeah, I talked to Coach coming out of the half, guys, and he said, look, he liked a lot of what he saw in the first half. He said they have to do better on transition defense. That's the key for them, better on transition D. As for Nene, Dick, just like Coach Fratello told us, he said they may have to go small as Billups hits the 3, may have to go small in the second half. Look for Melo at the 4, guys.
And they're taking advantage of that turnover problem, which plagued the Jazz in the first quarter, as the Nuggets have run off 7 straight points to take the 5-point lead. But you're right, Mike, this is a critical third quarter as Boozer, too hard off the glass, but gets the follow-up. Boozer now with 17, tied with Williams for the Jazz scoring lead.
Dick, as Doug Collins likes to say, those 50-50 balls, who gets to them first? Right now, it's Utah gets all of them. They just jump the second and third time much more quickly.
And Martin, and a foul as Fisenko had a hand on Martin on his shoulder. Fisenko picks up his 2nd foul. Martin to the line.
Well, you see, the 2-man game has been very productive. Billups turns the corner, keeps his dribble alive long enough to allow Martin to get close to the rim, and then he makes the right decision by giving it back to him.
And Kenny Smith talking about those deflections, which usually determine the winning team during our halftime. So Martin on the line, and the first one drops. Follow the NBA playoffs wherever you are with NBA Game Time Playoff Edition, the official mobile app of the NBA. Log on now to NBA.com/GameTime for up-to-date playoff highlights, scores, schedules, stats, and more.
There's one area that Denver needs to do a better job on. It's the boards. They must secure defensive rebounds and help themselves by getting on the offensive glass to get a couple extra possessions, a couple extra scores.
Martin 1 of 2 from the line. He has 11. Driving in is Matthews, and we'll have a Nugget foul. And Carmelo Anthony picking up his first foul of the game. Denver Nuggets. First time that these teams have faced each other in the playoffs since 1994. The Jazz were victorious in a 7-game series in the conference semifinals. How much has Wesley Matthews and these role players played for the Jazz down the stretch and so far in the series?
The thing I like about it is the other guys, so to say, the role players, they show great toughness for Utah. They have been mentally tough. They understand what their assignments are. And then they play off the two leaders, Williams and Boozer.
Billups hitting a three, and that's his second here in the third quarter. So Chauncey Billups, hampered with 3 personal fouls, has 14 points. He is the Nuggets scoring leader, and a nifty reverse layup by C.J. Miles cuts the Denver lead to 3. Billups to a cutting Carmelo Anthony. Basket counts in the foul.
Nice job that time. That was Chauncey Billups and the eye contact with Carmelo Anthony. He knew the defender was playing too high on the top side. Look at him grab the jersey, Miles. He knows he's beat. He grabs his shorts, almost undresses him. The concentration of Carmelo Anthony and the strength of Carmelo Anthony to finish and go to the foul line.
I think his jersey is so long that even if he pulled those shorts even farther down, all we would have seen was jersey. And the foul was on C.J. Miles, his third of the game. And the three-point play, conventional style by Carmelo. And the lead is 6. Anthony with 13. Miles looking for the cutter. This is a precision offense. And Miles against Billups and throws it away into the hands of Martin. And it goes back to Wesley Matthews.
Well, Kenyon Martin gave it to him at the wrong time.
And what a great drive by Deron Williams to set up Boozer with the layup. Great teamwork by those two stars.
So that winds up being a 4-point play. The 2 that Denver could have gotten if they maintained possession of the ball, and the 2 quick ones that Utah did get.
And the fall away by Carmelo Anthony. And Carmelo Anthony, only 2 field goals in the first half, but he's starting to cook now. 15 points, and with Nene, out for the rest of the game, not that he's a big offensive threat, they're going to need Carmelo to score.
Yeah, the good thing, if you're looking at the stat sheet, if you're Adrian Dantley, there's 5 players now in double figures for Denver. They're sharing the basketball.
And Williams driving in, spins out, and Petro gets the rebound. And along with Carmelo Anthony, Billups getting hot here in the third quarter as well. Nuggets can open up their biggest lead of the game, and Anthony goes up and does. Reverse layup. It's an 8-point lead.
Makes it a little bit easier when Carmelo Anthony is trying to attack Fasinko off the dribble drive rather than one of the smaller players that screen in transition, set him free.
And you're right, a lot of balance in the scoring for Denver. And Matthews driving the baseline. No one picking him up on the other end. Matthews with 10. But Denver leading by 6. And Billups. Martin is open. Fasinko, the rebound. Denver by 6. Biggest lead for the Jazz tonight was 3 points at 26-23 in the first quarter. Boozer nearly loses the ball. 4 on the shot clock. Deron Williams, the foul, And Aflalo fouls Darren Williams as the shot clock was running down.
He's so smart. He knew that the one dribble he'd have the defender coming at him. He stops short Williams, waits for the contact, and then makes it as if it's an active shooting. There's the contact, the bump. He goes through with the shooting motion, so he'll wind up on the free throw line.
So Darren Williams and Jerry Sloan, who doesn't hand out compliments all that often, says simply he's been terrific. Named to his first All-Star game this year and has been a leader of the team. And Jerry Sloan has had great 1-2 punches, I would say, in the past.
I feel sorry for Jerry Sloan. Imagine he only had to coach John Stockton and then Darren Williams. Tough assignment, coach.
And that Stockton and Malone combination, the part of that brilliance that the Jazz have had over the years. Winding down to 6 minutes remaining in the third. Petro setting a screen for Phillips, who goes in and scores. Chauncey Phillips now has 10 points here in the third quarter. C.J. Miles. And Millsap underneath thought Miles was going to shoot the ball. And instead the turnover will give it to the Nuggets, and we have a timeout.
Chauncey Phillips getting his opportunities on the floor. More minutes, more productivity, much more aggressiveness by Chauncey.
Welcome back to Denver. NBA player Darren Williams cares about his community. This season, the Jazz All-Star guard visited students at St. John the Baptist Elementary School to share some of his favorite books and congratulate the school for their success in the Be a Team Player Read contest. Williams encouraged students to develop a lifelong love of reading as part of his community program. This year, that touched the lives of more than 26,000 local youngsters. The NBA, where caring happens. Back to Dick and the Czar.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. And the tandem of Carmelo Anthony and Chauncey Phillips accounted for 16 points between them in the first half, have already 17 points in this third quarter in just about 6 minutes. So there they are, the combination getting it done, but turnovers really affecting the Utah Jazz negatively here. They've committed 5 after 6 turnovers in the first quarter, hurt him there, and the beat goes on for Carmelo Anthony, has 19 points, 9 in this quarter. And an 8-point lead matches the biggest for the Nuggets, who need a win to stay alive and force a game 6 in Utah. Boozer over Petro hitting, so Carlos Boozer coming back with 21. And Boozer has averaged 22 in this series.
Vic, you win basketball games by sharing the basketball. In games 3 and 4, 12 and 13 assists for the Nuggets. We'll see the steal take place as Matthews takes off. Wes Matthews with the finish at the other end. But I was about to say that for Denver right now, they've got 16 assists already. Adrian Dantley's got to be happy with the fact that they're sharing the basketball. But you can't stand there and pound it in the ground, or you will turn it over eventually.
That time they shared it with Millsap, who stole the ball. And we will have a foul called against Millsap, his second.
2 stars have taken over to start the third quarter. Chauncey Phillips with an aggressive mode, pull-up jumper in transition, winds up hitting the 3. And then Carmelo Anthony starting to get in the groove offensively, using his pump fake, and then his drive and left-hand finish to the basket.
C.J. Miles has gone out of the game, and Kyle Korver has come on for the Jazz. Korver thus far is 0 for 5 from the field. And Korver led the NBA in three-point shooting this year at 54%. There you see the great play of both Phillips and Anthony here in this third quarter. And Martin with the free throws, and the Nuggets up by 6. Martin with 13. And a reminder that Nene went out with a hyperextension, it appeared, of the left knee in that first half. Driving in is Matthews, and the putback by Boozer. Follow-up. The Jazz just stormed the offensive glass.
We talked about defensive rebounding for Denver.
And the lead is down to 4. Off the foot of Chris Anderson, who's come in. Aflalo is there, ducks underneath and hits the shot. Good play by Aflalo, who has 12.
Nice job that time. Good footwork, getting that pivot foot down, stepping underneath the defender.
And Darren Williams trying to split the defense, and a foul is called, and that will be against Aflalo. Martin was there as well.
You must put a body on your man. Once the shot goes up to the glass, Boozer comes in, no one sticks a body on him. He winds up with an uncontested layup. You have to find your man, seek him out, turn, lock out, keep a body on him.
And not only was Boozer there, but Millsap was ready as well.
One guy can't block out two guys, Dick, could he?
Darren Williams now with 20. TBS in June. From the executive producer Ice Cube comes a brand new sitcom about one family's journey to get there. Are we there yet? A brand new series premieres June the 2nd at 9/8 Central, only on TBS. Darren Williams, who has averaged 27 points a game in this series, has 21. Boozer with 23. And the foul is called before the pass. And Darren Williams, that's only his first foul of the game. But that's the 4th team foul against the Jazz. Martin setting a screen for Billups. Off balance was Billups. Offensive rebound by Martin. Finally snared by Boozer. 4-point lead, and the Jazz won't go away, and they never do. They're relentless coming back. And here is Matthews missing a three. And Martin down court trying to get it to Billups. And out of bounds, last touch by the Jazz. So the Nuggets will have the ball.
Dick, that's the 3rd long pass that Denver has tried to complete when a defensive man is right next to the offensive guy. They're just fortunate this time that it went off of Utah. Otherwise, it would have been 3 losses on those bad decisions.
J.R. Smith, who has come into the game. And now Billups working against Darren Williams, and it would have counted had it gone. And Darren Williams picking up 2 quick ones here. And that'll send Billups to the line as the Jazz are over the limit.
Well, that's one way to slow down someone that has been torturing your team. That's attack him, make him play defense. Williams with 21 points right now and 8 assists. Billups goes right at him, swings in, draws the foul, goes to the line.
The Nuggets are 14 of 18 from the free throw line tonight. And Anthony has been there the most, hitting 7 of 9. Chauncey Billups attended George Washington High School, just 8 miles east of the Pepsi Center. And the free throws are good. So Billups now with 18, 12 coming here in the 3rd quarter. And Denver up by 6. Here's Korver. He's looking to get going. He's 0 for 5 from the field. Boozer guarded by Anderson. Double team with Billups. Here's Darren Williams hitting the 3. Darren Williams with his 4th three-pointer of the game, and now it's down to 3.
Good job by Boozer fighting off the double team. He fought the defenders off. Both of them cleared a passing lane, and then bottom line in the end, Williams makes the big shot.
Here's Carmelo Anthony with a turnaround and a rebound by Boozer, and he was looking for the outlet. Darren Williams, who has 24 points with the ball, passing inside, and Millsap puts it in. Good penetration off of the missed shot, and Millsap has 11. And now Denver, the Nuggets were up by 8 at one point. Lead cut to 1. 2.5 to play in the 3rd.
You know, Dick, one thing that you can never have taken away from you is your spirit. The spirit in the game is so important. We see the slip screen that time by Anderson. Nice delivery by Smith. Denver's got to toughen up and not let Utah take that spirit away from them.
3rd foul called against Millsap.
Boozer on the inside. Darren Williams on the outside, hitting the big 3. 24 points for him, and then creating off the dribble. Finds a teammate. Easy score.
In this series, of course, one of only 4 guards to get 20 points and 10 rebounds in the first 4 games of a series. Well, there's more greatness for Darren Williams, so much so that there's been a shirt created that says, yes, you guessed it, greatness. This is part of his Point of Hope Foundation. The shirts will be for sale in Utah and online. All of the proceeds go to the Point of Hope, which has donated more than $500,000 to area charities in Utah, mostly children's charities. Guys?
And thanks to Darren Williams, unbelievable that he was just named to his first All-Star game this year. And more people talking about him as good as you can find as a point guard in this league.
I think our studio guys think that he's the best point guard in the NBA right now, and you're not going to get a whole lot of argument from this Denver team.
Ty Lawson is checked into the game, and the tip-in by Carmelo Anthony, who now has 21 points, so it's a 4-point lead. Both teams are shooting over 50% as we wind down to 2 minutes to go in the third.
Yeah, prior to that tip-in, it was a 10-4 advantage for Utah in second chance points. That's because they are not blocking out the Jazz.
Boozer shooting over Anderson, tough target. So here is Ty Lawson, who scored 3 points and had a very good first half, even though he didn't put up much numbers with his speed and quickness. He is guarded by Darren Williams with 9 on the shot clock. The ball knocked away, and 8 on the shot clock for the Nuggets. And 8 seconds now on the shot clock, and Kirill Fisenko it's come in for Carlos Boozer. Boozer going out with 23 points and 12 rebounds, 11 for 16 shooting, and maybe quietly having a brilliant game again. Kenyon Martin and Lawson for 3. He's got it. Ty Lawson now 1 for 3 from downtown, and the Nuggets open it up to 7.
Basket for Lawson because Kenyon Martin gave it to him with just 1 second remaining on the 24-second clock. He had no choice. He had to get it up there.
And great for the Nuggets, who can extend their lead with Billups on the bench. The offensive rebound by Fisenko. Double team on Williams, and a tough pass thrown away. 6 turnovers here in this third quarter.
Clock running down. Kenyon Martin gives it to him, hits his hands as the clock goes from 2 to 1, and then it's the bottom of the net for Ty Lawson.
So the Jazz turn it over 6 in the first, 6 times here in the third, only once in the second quarter. And here is Carmelo Anthony working his way in. It's an air ball with 1 minute remaining in the third quarter, and the Denver Nuggets can open up with a 7-point lead if they can get a stop here on the last possession. They can establish their biggest lead. Williams with 9. Darren Williams with a runner. Darren Williams with the follow after Fisenko kept it alive. And it's 26 points for Darren Williams. And Ty Lawson tries to keep it in play and can't. And the Nuggets turn it over with a half a minute to go.
These things can't happen in a close basketball game, in a playoff game. You can't stand around and watch Utah get second and third shots, and then you come down and turn the ball over carelessly.
3-point miss by Williams, and Fisenko can't keep it alive. Gets hit on the right elbow as it goes over to Denver. 86-81, the Denver Nuggets lead, and trying to stay alive here at home and force the 6th game of this opening round Western Conference Series. Differential of just a couple of seconds between shot clock and game clock. Driving in is Smith. No basket. And J.R. Smith charging into Millsap, called for the offensive foul, and he is hurt. When the series started, it was the Utah Jazz losing Kirilenko and then Mehmet Okur in the first game of the series, and now with the Ney out, J.R. Smith comes up hobbling.
You know when you take off from this far out that Utah is going to make its rotation. You see Millsap willing to take the punishment, sticks his body in front. He's clearly outside the restricted area. Good call by the official. He hits the ground pretty hard there. That's why he grabs that left shoulder.
C.J. Miles is in for Korver, playing for the final seconds of the period, and the Nuggets with a foul to give. Lawson gives it, and now 3.5 on the clock. Korver back in. So it's Korver, Miles, Fisenko, with Matthews and Darren Williams. Here's Miles. Lawson all over him. And Ty Lawson wouldn't let Miles get a good look as Phillips and Anthony have 23 between them in the third quarter. The Nuggets outscore the Jazz by 7 and will take a 5-point lead into the fourth quarter of this critical Game 5.
All right, welcome back to Denver here with Coach Adrian Dantley. 86-81. Coach, got to be a little bit frustrated, though, with the way that quarter ended.
Well, we got to do a better job defending the ball, okay? They make a ball reversal and go right to the rim. We can't let Utah do that. And also, we got to take care of the basketball. They ain't turn the ball over. You know, playoff game, got to have good possessions.
Well, this series seems to be about responding to adversity. You're proud of the way the guys came out with Nene out.
Well, we played real hard, but we got another quarter to go.
Good luck, Nick.
All right, Mark, and statistically pretty even game. The turnovers are about even, rebounding even, shooting the same, offensive rebounding, and it's a tight game in Game 5. Pick and roll from Lawson to Anderson, and the lead is 7. Good start for the Nuggets in the fourth.
You can see the one area that they have attacked Denver and been very successful with is the two-man game, rolling that guy to the basket. They're hurting Utah. Utah has to do a better job rotating.
Korver getting out. Price is starting at the point, and the three-point basket by C.J. Miles cuts the lead to 4. So Ronnie Price is at the point with Boozer, Fisenko, Kyle Korver, and Miles. And a pushing foul on Price. And that's the first foul of this fourth quarter.
Vic, one guy I want to mention is Kyle Korver. Go back to Game 2 when Utah came in here and stole that game 114 to 111. Korver came off the bench in 24 minutes, 5 of 7, 13 points. Now, tonight, thus far, he's 0 for 6 from the floor, but he is always a threat shooting the basketball.
He's 1 for 11 in the last 2 games, but comes in 56%. So he did something right in the early games as Anthony gets the foul on Miles. So Miles with his 4th foul. And we are about a minute in, and already the Jazz have committed 2 team fouls, and that could be pivotal as Carmelo Anthony goes to the free throw line. Anthony with 21 points on 7 of 9 from the line. Here's a look at the upcoming national TV schedule. Friday on ESPN at 7 o'clock Eastern, a pair of Game 6. And ABC Sunday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern will have a game not yet determined. As we're reaching the end of this first round, Anthony with 1 out of 2 from the line. Denver's lead is 5. J.R. Smith defending Korver. Still looking for his first basket. Boozer has Miles. Miles with the lay-in, and Boozer follows with the tip. How many times has Boozer been alert and there for the follow?
You have to wonder how you're losing Boozer. It's not like he's so thin you can't see him out there on the floor. He's a big, wide body. Go put yours on him.
Anthony was looking for the ball back, and there's Kenyon Martin driving in, and the Boozer committing the foul. That'll be his 3rd.
Right there. Now watch Boozer right there as he goes to the basket. He follows his man down the lane. Carmelo's on the wrong side of him. Kenyon Martin winds up trying to decide if he should come over and stop the ball. That in-between gray area, no one to block out Boozer.
So Kenyon Martin on the line, and you want to talk about those who have helped Carmelo Anthony on the Nugget team. Martin with 5 for 8 from the field, misses the free throw. He has 6 rebounds and 13 points and came out early to help the Nuggets.
Kenyon Martin, one of those guys who seems to have had to battle injuries throughout his career in the NBA. And you know, when you get a healthy Kenyon Martin that's able to play with the aggressiveness and toughness that he has in him, very tough defender, very good on the glass, and good enough to make an open jump shot. But he struggled with injuries.
And the knee's still bothering him, so 1 out of 2 for Martin. And it's a 4-point game. And the Utah Jazz lurking on the road here and looking for the closeout victory. They've won 3 in a row in this series after the Nuggets won game 1 here. And we'll have a Nugget pushing foul, and that will be the first team foul, and it'll go against Smith.
There's a young man who played 20 minutes of action. He's 5 for 5 from the floor right now, so you have to wonder now whether or not Adrian Dantley brings him back, because the young man has been very productive while he's out there, or does he come back and go with Billups and Lawson on the floor together?
Here's Boozer from Price, knocked away by Lawson. Ty Lawson with the big steal. Driving is Anderson, fouled on the feed from Carmelo Anthony. And I'll tell you what, in there you see wincing in a little bit of pain. And look at all the injuries he's had to battle is Chris Anderson.
And you see Anderson grabbing that right knee on the floor with the knee brace. Dives the lane hard. That's the most aggressive move he's made in the game. He had a full head of steam running down the floor, and he tries to finish over the top of Fisenko.
And that's 3 on Fisenko. And with 9:51 to go, the next foul on the Jazz will put them in the penalty. And Anderson really hurting as Fisenko goes out of the game, and he is replaced by Millsap. Fisenko has scored 3 points, picked up 3 personals. One free throw gives Denver a 5-point lead.
I think if Anderson's struggling that much with the knee, you just may have to take him out right now, because he's not going to be any use to you jumping, rebounding, blocking shots if he's moving as poorly as we see him moving.
And remember, Nene with his sprained left knee out for the rest of the game. And here is Millsap, and he did a good job by keeping Anderson at bay with his right arm. And once again, the Utah Jazz don't go away, trailing by only 3. Here is Lawson, trapped. 9 on the clock. Martin goes back to Lawson. Darren Williams won't let him get a shot off, but here's J.R. Smith with a big 3, and it's a 6-point game again. Smith with 3 from downtown.
You've got to get him shots if he's going to be a scorer for you. That's only his 5th field goal attempt, and it looked like early on he was in one of those nights where he was going to make shots. Go back to him, get him the ball. Williams with the floater.
And Williams now with 28 points and 10 assists. Another big game for him, 9 of 16 from the field, and it's a 4-point game. The Nuggets, by the way, have hit their last 7 from 3-point range. This is a 2-point attempt by Smith. And here come the Jazz again, trailing by 4. So the game, without question, within reach of the Utah Jazz. Looking to make it 4 in a row. Win twice here at the Pepsi Center and wrap up this first round. Millsap with a turnaround, banks it in. And it's a 2-point game. Millsap with 15 off the bench.
Chauncey Billups only played 24 minutes in that first half due to the fouls. You've got to get Chauncey Billups back on the floor. He's the guy who got it going with Carmelo to start the second half. You can't sit him out much longer. And
Carmelo Anthony, Martin getting the offensive rebound and the putback. So Kenyon Martin with 16, and there is Billups, who has 18 in the game, 3 fouls, but that's not a big factor now. 3 fouls is not much at this juncture. Here is Darren Williams, rebound by Anderson.
You need Billups on the floor to be able to guard Darren Williams down the stretch here for the last 7.5 minutes of the game.
Darren Williams with 28. Carlos Boozer with 25. And 22 for Carmelo Anthony. Anderson setting a screen for J.R. Smith, who hits another 3. That's 8 in a row from 3-point range. And the 22nd timeout, now a full timeout.
Explosive in game number 1. 14 points in the fourth quarter. J.R. Smith from behind the 3-point line says, thank goodness I've got it going.
7:10 remaining in the fourth quarter. And after going 1 for 6 beyond the arc, the Nuggets have hit 8 in a row, 4 of them by J.R. Smith. This is game number 5. And if the Nuggets survive, the series will move on and go back to Salt Lake City. Millsap will inbound. So Miles and Millsap in there with Darren Williams, Wesley Matthews, and Carlos Boozer back in the game. Ball knocked away, and they're going to call Anthony grabbing on to the back of Millsap as the ball went out of bounds, and they both were shaken up.
I'm not sure what Carmelo was doing on that.
He commits the foul.
Loose ball, you go after, but that's an outright tackle right there. You got to be smart when you go after it.
The Broncos would go after a tackle like that and probably save a ball carrier from picking up any yardage. So the foul is against Anthony. Boozer, defended by Johan Petro, who has come in. Fall away by Boozer. Anderson playing hurt, and obviously so, limping up court. But the Nuggets with the ball and a 7-point lead, 6.5 to play in the fourth. Anthony guarded by Matthews. And Lawson. And Petro tips it in. Johan Petro. And that is the biggest lead of the game. The Nuggets are up by 9 points.
What a terrific tip that time. He came flying in, got his hand below the ball, got it up onto the glass, and it fell.
101 to 92 to score, and they're going to call the Nuggets foul. And it's Petro and Wesley Matthews both hit the floor. Adrian Dantley trying to get the Denver Nuggets to extend this series.
There's Petro, comes in with the left hand, tips it up, gets the roll.
There's got to be a lot of pressure on Adrian Dantley, who was 13 and 12 as a head coach with George Karl ill. He's got great credentials, but somebody said Dantley has won 1 playoff game and Jerry Sloan's won 97. You were a coach, you know how tough a spot this is.
It was so difficult to take over during the course of the season. An outstanding season. We used to foul that time on Millsap. Denver on its way. Many people said when they were playing their best basketball, they were good enough to beat the Lakers if they met up in the playoffs. Suddenly your head coach comes down with cancer. You have to move over and lead this team. And it's not a difficult situation. Some teams are easier to coach than other teams. You have a mixture of personalities on this Denver Nugget team that can be very tough to handle and lead them.
And when people talk about the things that George Karl gives this team, that's really not a knock at Adrian Dantley. It's a praise of George Karl, who's done a terrific job. And of course, our prayers and our hopes for a full recovery rest with George Karl. And I know one time when he was a youngster, there's Kobe, his son, when he left high school in Pittsburgh. I was a young reporter there. I chided him for not staying in Pittsburgh instead of going to the University of North Carolina. How bad a move was that for him? 3-point attempt by Phillips, who's into the game, misses. And he reminds me of that all the time. He's made great decisions through his life. And Darren Williams fouled. Foul is on Martin. That'll be 4 on Kenyon Martin.
I'm not sure that wasn't one of those calls where the official thinks it's going to be a foul, but at least from my angle, it looked like there was a lot of hand on ball as he cups it right here, tries to split him, and right there you see the right arm, right hand to me, looked like it was on ball from Kenyon Martin. Sometimes the official, anticipating it, blows the whistle too early.
Darren Williams is 7 for 7 from the line tonight, and the first player in NBA history with 20 or more points and 10 or more assists in the first 5 games of a series. And he also has distinguished himself in other ways as well. 1 out of 2, so Williams, after hitting his first 7, misses. And the lead is 7 for the Nuggets. Under 5.5 to go, J.R. Smith goes up, and the foul committed by Miles, I believe, and if it is, that'll be 5 on him. And it is on Matthews, his 3rd. J.R. Smith hitting the first free throw, so Smith in his 6th year, and was 5th among scoring among the 6 men in the NBA. And of course, we have seen, especially in the last game, how erratic he can be, but he has been solid tonight.
Yeah, shooting over 82% in the playoffs here from the free throw line. So if he is aggressive and goes to the basket, he's the guy who cashes in when he gets to the strike.
4 threes tonight and 15 in the game. Here is Darren Williams with a runner. And here is Millsap. Millsap again. And finally the Nuggets persevere. And Phillips is fouled by Darren Williams on a solid collision. And you saw Jerry Sloan claiming there was a foul under the basket at the other end.
Well, Chauncey Billups in transition is just trying to signal somebody, and at the moment he's trying to signal a teammate where to go. Darren Williams stops, and he's waiting for him to collide. Jerry wants to know, why didn't you call the foul under the basket down here when everybody was landing on top of each other?
Both teams have been in the penalty, and here is Billups, who scored 12 points in the 3rd quarter, now looking for his 20th point of the game. And the first time tonight we have had a double-digit lead.
During the regular season, Denver, the #1 team in the league at free throw attempts per game. They averaged right at 30 free throw attempts. And tonight in this game, 32 free throw attempts for Denver.
Biggest lead of the game, 11. And the Nuggets have gone to the line 11 more times than the Jazz. Darren Williams against Anderson. And Anderson just a presence there, and Williams could not get the foul or a decent shot. And now the crowd can smell the Nuggets putting it on toward the end. Loose ball, and Anderson is fouled going up. And if there was any question as to whether the Denver Nuggets heads would be in the game here in Game 5 after all that was said and discussed during the time off, that has been answered emphatically.
They came out from the beginning of the second half. I had mentioned I thought those first 3 or 4 minutes were critical minutes right there. They established themselves. They've gotten the lead and then have held onto it, which is so difficult to do against a team that executes as well as Utah does.
And Miles with his 5th foul, and Anderson playing hurt and playing well, Mark Fine.
Well, and this is a guy, Dick, that they needed. They needed the energy out of him. Dantley talked about it before the game. He's been dealing with injuries all season long. In Game 3, he injured his other knee. He's got 2 knee injuries, was kicked from behind the leg, and he's really providing a lot for them off the bench tonight, Dick.
No question about it. And 10 points for Anderson. And the 3-point attempt by Wesley Matthews out of bounds. Last touched by the Denver Nuggets. And if you were looking for balance from the Nuggets tonight, they certainly have gotten it with 6 players in double figures. And Martin looks like he's hurt a bit. This is a war of attrition going on out here, especially for Denver. And the 3-point attempt is good by Darren Williams. That's his 5th of the game, and 32 points. And the lead down to 10.
How about Darren Williams? 5 of 8 from the 3-point line, 7 of 8 from the foul line, 32 points, 10 assists.
Plenty of time remaining. Both teams have been in the penalty. Phillips picked up by Matthews on the switch. And Anthony guarded by Darren Williams. And the foul as Anthony goes up and Williams will chalk up his 4th foul.
Williams was not going to let Carmelo get those arms up as he was back down, and he felt Carmelo turning into the basket. He just comes right across his arms hard, sends him to the line, but it's not going to give up a three-point play.
So the Denver Nuggets, who lost to the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals last year, and the Jazz, who lost to the Lakers in 5 games in the first round. And one of these teams looking to advance, and there we have the 6 players in double figures for Denver, led by Anthony, who now has 24 points and a 12-point Nugget lead. Phillips defending Williams, picked up 3 fouls early, not a factor now. And the ball knocked away from behind, and here's J.R. Smith. Let's listen. The Denver Nuggets appear that they're going to live for another day, as Matthews drives in and is fouled with 3:10 remaining. That's 5 now on Kenyon Martin.
There's the breakaway by J.R. Smith. That was Carmelo that threw that pitch ahead pass and allowed the youngster to go down, put on a little bit of a show at the end.
Meanwhile, for Utah, Boozer and Williams combining for 57 points between them. Millsap with 16 off the bench, and Matthews has 13 as well. 1 out of 2 from the line, and it's a 13-point lead with under 3 minutes to go in the 4th.
Denver comes back to the exact same plays they ran last time down.
Here is Anthony. And it's blocked by Matthews. Great defensive play. And Phillips will commit his 4th foul. And the shooting situation here. Great block by Matthews against Carmelo Anthony. Timeout. Denver with the lead.
Then you have J.R. Smith, who finally has found the range from downtown with the 3-point shot.
And the Denver bench outscoring the Jazz bench 37-16. And if the Nuggets hold on, Game 6 will be Friday at Salt Lake City. And you know how tough Utah is at home. And if a Game 7 is necessary, it'll be Sunday back here in Denver. As this series is following along the lines of the Spurs and the Mavericks. As the Mavericks won the first game at home in Dallas, the Spurs won Game 2 in Dallas, took the next 2, and then facing a desperation game, the Mavericks with a sterling play in beating the Spurs. Game 6 tomorrow night in San Antonio, and Dallas coming out similar to the way the Mavericks did in Game 5 in that series.
I would expect to see a very physical game between the Dallas Mavericks and San Antonio Spurs.
34 points for Deron Williams with 10 assists. And 25 and 15 for Carlos Boozer, so double-doubles in their own fashion. 2.5 to play. Kenyon Martin has played a big game tonight. That comes off the board, but there is a foul called, and that'll go against Boozer. And Martin will go to the line.
Kenyon Martin's been very active tonight, considering the fact that he's playing with that bad knee. He understood what he had to give to this team. He's found a way to come up with 8 rebounds, 3 offensive boards. Right now going to the line, adds his 17th point.
Tomorrow night on TNT, another great night of basketball. Game 1, the Spurs return home. We just talked about that game. San Antonio with the 3-2 series lead on the Mavericks. And in the second game of the doubleheader, Phoenix will try to close out their series with the Portland Trail Blazers in Portland. Phoenix up 3 games to 2. Martin with 2 free throws has 18 points, and that is his scoring best in this series. A 13-point lead with nearly 2 to go. 2 minutes remaining in the 4th. And Boozer goes up. Well defensed by Martin and Anderson. Anderson got a piece of it.
Amazing when you get some shot blocking and big men to protect the front of the rim. It's not as easy to get to 50% shooting for the opposition.
And Chauncey Billups out to Smith. J.R. Smith. They had hit 8 threes in a row in Denver. And 2 minutes to go, the ball stripped away. With under 2 minutes to go. And the Denver Nuggets staying alive in this game number 5. And setting up a game 6. And a kickball. 14 seconds will be on the clock. So Boozer and Williams did everything they could do to no avail for the Jazz tonight.
By kicking the ball, Denver picks up another 9 seconds on that possession. The shot clock was down to 5. Now it goes back up to 14. Billups can use 9 more seconds off the clock.
So with all the gloom and doom around the Denver camp, the Nuggets come out strong for Adrian Dantley in this game. And Darren Williams with his 5th foul. And Billups will go to the line. And it was a game in which Carmelo Anthony did get help. 6 players in double figures for the Nuggets. Played solid defense, and boy, did they go to the line, huh?
Captain Dick, going into tonight, didn't you say that Carmelo Anthony was averaging 12 more field goal attempts than the next closest guy on his team? Well, tonight, Anthony with 18 field goal attempts, but Billups tonight with 13. So just a differential of 5 there. A little bit different than 12.
14-point game. C.J. Miles with a 3-point attempt. And Millsap trying to pass it out. Can't convert the reverse layup. And now the crowd begins to get on its feet with a minute to go as the Nuggets extend the series. And Carmelo Anthony with the basket ruled out. No basket. And now they'll empty the benches. And a hand for Kenyon Martin. Still hurting with his sore knees, coming out and having a terrific game tonight. Martin with 16 points, as Cesar mentioned, 8 rebounds. And Darren Williams fouls out, having scored 34 points. And assisting on 10 other baskets.
Darren Williams has just been sensational in this series. He's leading this team, does it with his ability to score the ball, make shots from the perimeter, find open teammates.
Well, we said something had to give in this game. The Jazz had a 7-0 record when they were leading 3-1 in series, and that comes to an end. And the hand for Chauncey Billups, who, despite getting in early foul trouble, comes up with 21 points and has a brilliant game. And for the Nuggets, they too will end a string of losing 8 straight games when the elimination was on the line. Matthews lays it in. So Wesley Matthews with 15 points. Question is for the Nuggets, how will they deal with the loss of Nene, their center, who went out with a sprained left knee in the first half, out for the rest of the game. And we'll see what his status is.
Oh, you got to worry about Nene. Is he going to be able to recover as Carmelo launches it from downtown? But how about Anderson's knee? Is he going to be able to have enough rest to come back and give them effort? Can Kenyon Martin give them the same kind of effort in the next game? And as you well know, Dick, that building is a difficult building in Salt Lake City to play in. They have one of the best home crowds in the NBA, and the Utah Jazz play so well there.
No question about it. Final seconds of this game as the Jazz won 3 in a row after Denver won the opening game. And the Nuggets will survive tonight. And you're right, when you look at Anderson and Nene, the big people for Denver, ailing right now. And we know what Utah has done, losing Kirilenko and Mehmet Okur. Here's Matthews. And the follow is missed, and that'll do it. Got her back to the 1994 semifinals. 8 straight elimination games. The Nuggets were beaten. It ends tonight with a 116-102 victory. And the Jazz still lead the series 3 games to 2, and they will come home for game 6. 6 players in double figures for Denver. Anthony led with 26 as we send it over to Mark Fine.
Yeah, I'm here with Carmelo Anthony, and you said you couldn't do it by yourself. You got some help tonight, didn't you? Ty contributed, Bird contributed for you. You got help everywhere.
We did it as a team tonight. Defense, we passed the ball tonight. We made plays, made each other better tonight, and we won.
Seemed like you looked a little more comfortable, too. Got to the line a lot more.
Well, they called it. They was calling it tonight, but I just been playing the same way I always played. The same this whole series. Just trying to be aggressive. Tonight I try to get everybody better, make everybody better tonight, and we won the game tonight, so that's what counts.
Dick Stockton referred to this as a war of attrition. A lot of injuries. You guys lose Nene in the game. What was said in the locker room at halftime? Did you guys talk at all about trying to overcome that?
We got a battle. We got guys injured, we got guys hurt, we got a battle. It's a fight, it's a dog fight. I mean, we here. We still in it.
All right, thanks a lot. Hey, Dick, back to you now. And Carmelo Anthony, that is his first victory in an elimination game since playing here at Denver.
But he seemed a lot more elated when he won the national championship at Syracuse than he did after winning this big game tonight. And Williams with 34, Boozer at 25, and that's the story. Final score, 116-102. The Nuggets beat the Jazz. So for Mike Fratello and Mark Fine, I'm Dick Stockton saying goodnight from Denver. You've been watching the NBA on TNT, and right now let's send it to Ernie Johnson in Atlanta.